Can you dig it? Welcome to IDP Nation's spin-off podcast talking about college IDP and Debbie IDP prospects. We are your hosts, Dan Cook, Darrell Winstead, and Eric Harroff. We are the Debbie IDP grind. Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
That was actually on a couple weeks ago. I was at the gym. The Warriors come out to play. Eric had to go. I don't know. He just ran off. I don't know what's going on. He ran away like the college football season. Apparently, he's going to run away. Maybe. See, the can you dig it is scary, and then he gets shot. So, and then Eric's like the Warriors running away around the subway. Anyway, Hollywood, how's it going?
Oh man, going pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. To bury the lead here. The college football season seems to be on death's door. It was reported earlier that the Big Ten is probably canceling their season, and they're expecting the other conferences to follow suit. So it is not looking too good for college football. Some of the players are posting they want to play. If they were getting paid, might this be a different story? I don't know. It seems to be the conferences facing the pressures of trying to figure out how this would work. And they're just saying it's not going to work. Some of the smaller conferences have bagged their season. The first domino to fall was Connecticut football saying that they're not playing. And the second domino was the MAC just canceling their season entirely. I mean, earlier this week, I think the FBS or FCS, whichever one's the minor, the smaller school. Which one is it?
FCS.
So the FCS just bagged
Division 2 and 3.
Division 2 and 3, and basically said kids can go transfer. No penalties. They can be released right away. That's part of what you have in the news, which we will get to here in just a moment. So as far as this podcast goes, I think we will still do the podcast. It may not be as often. We were planning on having a football season to talk about, but we will still be doing our draft prep and draft coverage. It's going to be based off of last year's film because that's all we have at our disposal right now. It does
Some player breakdowns.
Yeah, it does not appear that we're going to have any new things to talk about. So the stats are going to be the stats. I mean, you have big name opt-outs. I mean, I know you're not going to mention a lot of the offensive stuff, but Rondale Moore, Rashod Bateman are both saying, we are going to just get ready for the draft. And maybe they caught wind early that college football was considering closing up shop and just decided to, get ready. I mean, I don't blame them a bit. Why risk your health? Why risk injury? Your first-round graded guys already. Train and get ready for the combine. If there is a combine, that's another big question mark. I mean, I think the only certainty right now is uncertainty and not knowing what's going to happen. But anyway, let's hit us up with some news. What do we got going on in the college football defensive realm here?
Yeah, we just kind of touched on the state of college football with Division 2 and Division 3 being done. Does Division 1 follow suit? So we kind of done touched on that just in a waiting pattern, I guess. You kind of mentioned a minute ago kids transferring. James Madison lost 2 defensive end Adeeb Atariwa and D'Angelo Amos, they transferred to Virginia. Now, that's pretty good gets for Virginia, but with the balance of the season in question, do they even get to play now that they've transferred? Same with Roderick Perry from South Carolina State. He went to Illinois. These kids decided there's not going to be a season in Division II and Division III. Let's move up, and now their efforts to still play may go by the wayside if there's not a Division I. So.
Definitely. So why don't you just run down the list? I mean, we don't need to go in depth too much about the guys that have opted out, but just hit those. Yeah, guys.
Some of the bigger names is Penn State linebacker Micah Parsons, Miami defensive end Gregory Rousseau. Both of those were basically in everybody's top 5 or 10 IDP Devies everywhere. Jaylen Twyman is another one. Caleb Farley, he was actually the first one to opt out in college football that kind of got all this started with players opting out. Those were, and like you mentioned, Rashod Bateman and Rondale Moore on the offensive side. It just makes sense. I mean, why play a few games and risk getting injury if you're not going to have a full season? It makes sense to just opt out and prepare for the draft.
Yeah, Eric, you have anything to add there? Welcome back.
Yeah, had a family emergency. No, other than that, I mean, nothing really that Daryl didn't say. A bunch of top defensive guys, offensive guys, just getting ready for next year. The guys that look like they're already going to be first rounders. Said, I mean, why waste it and just let's prepare and move on to next year. So.
Right. And then while I was looking for stuff to put in our notes today, I didn't even notice this one, but Clemson, and our buddy Tripp will love this, Clemson defensive end Xavier Thomas is expected to redshirt due to loss of weight, basically. He contracted COVID-19 early in spring, then he got strep throat, and apparently he's lost a lot of weight. He's put some more back on, but according to the coaches, he's still not where he needs to be, so he's just going to redshirt.
And that's awesome. On that note, I didn't notice that either until I was reading over this, and I'm in the middle of doing my defensive end article for Devies, and I'm on Xavier Thomas right now. So I was like, oh, that's good to know. That I didn't even see that anywhere, and
I hadn't either. I was going back through some notes on some sites and stuff and run across it, and I was like, I didn't even see that. So.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Oklahoma linebacker Caleb Kelly suffered a knee injury. He's going to miss the season. Looks like it's a pretty severe one. He was expected to be the starter in place of Kenneth Murray's departure. So that's a blow to them if they get to play. And then a couple recruiting notes. The Hurricanes got a verbal from 5-star defensive end Leonard Taylor, number 27 in the 2021 cycle. That's a big get for them, especially if they're going to lose Rousseau. And then Ohio State got a verbal from 4-star linebacker Gabe Powers. Looks like they're going to continue to load up. And Clemson, here you go, Tripp, got a verbal from Peyton Page, and he's a 4-star defensive tackle. And we mentioned in our last show, Tony Fields, the senior linebacker, had decided to transfer from Arizona, and apparently he's narrowed his list down to 3 schools: Minnesota, Texas, and West Virginia. So it'll be interesting to see where he lands.
Yeah, lots of moving and shaking, and it might all be for nothing.
Nothing, yeah.
If the news is true, which we assume, I mean every other fall sport's canceled, so I don't know. I know football is a big moneymaker for these universities, and that's why they really feel like they need to play. But I don't know that that's this. Apparently, high school sports are still going to try to go at it. That may change after this news drops, though. I don't.
Yeah.
I think they were holding out hope that high school sports could happen, and I know a lot of parents are upset that, some sports are getting canceled and things, but yeah, I mean, the high school kids aren't getting paid either.
Yeah, there's still a go here.
I know the high school kids, some of them are depending on scholarships and things like that.
Right. Well,
so it will definitely impact a lot of different people.
Right.
And I know Colorado high school football. They're going to try and go in the spring.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're still going on schedule. It's a little bit later. They've pushed it back, so we're probably going to wind up ending in like our state championships right now would end in December. But one of the things I've seen is from parents, nonetheless, there was a mention of, well, maybe on game days, the high school teams limit how many players they take or have dressed. And some of the parents were, well, how's that fair to all the kids? How can you tell a kid that's there every day, putting in the same amount of effort and practice every day, that he can't dress up and be on the sideline? So it's just a mess everywhere right now.
Yeah, it is.
It's kind of disappointing. It's pissing me off.
Well, in Pennsylvania, the governor suggested that PIAA, the Pennsylvania Athletic Association in Pennsylvania for high school, he suggested to them that they not have a season. PIAA said that they're going to attempt to have a season, but I mean, if half of your school districts are virtual, you're really going to get kids together to play football. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, and like I forget where it was. Was it last week, I think? Anyway, somewhere I guess they've already started school in Georgia, and there was an entire fourth grade class somewhere in Georgia on the first day got quarantined because somebody come to school sick, and they just shut it all down. First day.
I know my cousin started in Tennessee already, around Nashville.
Yeah,
she started school and she's a freshman, I think. So
yeah, we supposed to start pretty soon. So I think they're going to wind up going to school and everything's going to get shit because somebody's going to come to school with it. That it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think we're actually going to homeschool our oldest this year, just to not even go there. So,
well, I think we had that option too, but these kids are basically got cabin fever. They've been locked up for, they want to get out and meet their friends and everything. So you can't blame them, but at the same time, you send them to school with this going on, you got to expect it's going to shut back down at some point.
Yep.
Especially when some states are still hot like we are right now. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, let's
get off this note.
Because what we're about to talk about may be completely moot point because we did a campus to Canton league this year, and already I have lost Rashod Bateman before this possible announcement. But yeah, we have a campus to Canton draft that just wrapped up. I know some people wanted some more rounds at the end because
you gotta let me know before the last round.
Yeah, I know.
You can't let me know in round 28.
I have one.
I mean, I was all for it, but we just
yeah. I think the issue is having backups, especially since they trimmed down the schedule. Like there are some weeks you're just not going to start a quarterback, or your quarterback's going to be on bye. I think at week 1, I don't think anybody's playing. I think Penn State's playing, and I mean, what is week 1 anymore?
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, all the schedules got shuffled around. I mean, these schools have 5 or 6 bye weeks now. It's a little crazy. Well, that just shows you the powder puffs that they play for 5-6 weeks that they had to cancel.
Yep. Speaking of you, Alabama.
Real schools, you can tell the schools, I'm looking at like Pitt and Iowa State and Kansas. They only have 3 bye weeks. The rest of them have like 4 and 5, and it's like not all the rest, but of the people on my team, those Texas actually only has 2 bye weeks, so they must be playing Is Southern Florida in the Big 12?
No.
No.
So I guess they're playing an out-of-conference game? Is that happening?
Unless they've
I mean,
I've not
Unless
heard
they
anything.
move conferences.
I mean, that's it's on the schedule right now for I have Malcolm Epps from Texas, and it's saying week 1, I guess, they have a game against Southern Florida. I don't know.
Watching the show.
Got a visitor. So Daryl, why don't you start us off with your league or your draft here?
I'm impressed. We finally got to peek behind the curtain and see the brains of the operation up there for Eric.
She's a daddy's girl. She's a daddy's girl.
I see that.
Did she draft your entire team?
She probably could have.
Yeah.
All right. So what are we doing here? Going over our teams?
Yep.
Well, you can go over your team there, Daryl, first, and
I guess we're just looking at the IDP side here. So, yeah, we did what? 28 rounds, it looks like.
Yep.
And I took my first. Hang on.
man, we were all kinds of. Am I the only one with everybody in bed? I guess.
Yeah, mine just got home from grandma's, so
Yeah.
I had to say hi.
So I took my first IDP in round 4, and I took the safety Andre Cisco from Syracuse. Hard to pass up a talent that good. I've got him in my top 5 overall, Davey. So for me, that was a no-brainer. Then I went. Let's see here. I'm trying to look. Then in the 9th round, I took my next guy, Jaylen Twyman. I've lost him to the opt-out, so that kind of hurt my team. Followed it up with safety Hamza Nasruddin from Florida State. Love him. Good high tackle and safety. Let's see here. Then I went with Zane Zandier, the middle linebacker for Virginia. He's going to rack up a lot of tackles for them. Then I went with a player kind of lower key that Eric's probably heard of up his way, Solomon Byrd, the defensive lineman from Wyoming that was so good that played in front of Logan Wilson last year.
Yep.
Then one of my better value picks that I got was in the 15th round. I got Drake Daniel, USC Trojan defensive end tackle. Really loved that. Then I got Thomas Graham, the Oregon defensive back. Really like him. Dimitri Moore for Vandy. How could you not take a Vanderbilt linebacker when they're going to be on the field 2,000 plays a game? Then I kind of went I was surprised at this point. I mean, we're hitting around 20, and I was kind of surprised at some of the names that were still on the board. I got Veron McKinley III from Oregon. There's one of their star defensive backs. Ryan Vance, the linebacker from Iowa State. He was one of their pass rushers from the outside up there with Mike Rose in the middle and forget the third guy's name that was on the other side, but got him in the 23rd round. So I thought that was really good. And then probably the best value of my whole draft was defensive lineman DJ Dale in the 27th round, the sophomore from Alabama that's so good. And then I took a flyer on Micah McFadden, the linebacker from Indiana that's really good. So looking at some of these drafts, round 20 or later, there was a lot of good IDP players left. Now, before we get carried away, there was a lot of players on my 100 defensive Davy big board that I really wanted, and as you can tell, I didn't get any of them. And that's okay. I mean, you put it out there, you expect people to use it, and I'm kind of flattered that they did. They listened to me, and they used it well against me, such as Eric. But yeah, I mean, I like it. To put that out there and for people to use it, that makes it harder on me, which I enjoy the competition myself. So thank you all for reading and using it. But still some good values late, I thought.
I do like, I don't know, I didn't hear you say him, but Nate Landman, you took him in the 7th, the Colorado linebacker.
Oh, yeah, I did skip him. Sorry.
That guy's a tackle machine, too.
Yeah.
I really like him. So,
yeah, I think at that point I was kind of surprised because, like I said, the big names were kind of getting down at that point. And I forget who jumped the gun. I'd have to go back and look at the draft. But somebody I kind of was waiting on defense was my initial process. I was like, I'm going to wait till somebody takes the first one off the board kind of to see where they're falling. And where I was at in the draft, if I'm not mistaken, they jumped early, so I had to wait almost like a full round for it to get back to me. So,
yeah, so I'm actually looking at the draft board right now, and Gregory Rousseau went in the 3rd round. He was the first IDP taken.
In the 3rd round. Good.
In the 3rd round. Yep. And then after that, I took the next one with Micah Parsons.
I hate you for that.
Then Kayvon Thibodeau went after that, and then Andre Sisco.
Yeah, see, that was my top 4. So,
yeah. Well, Eric, why don't you go continue with your team here? What'd you get and what'd you think?
So, like I said, I took Micah Parsons in the 4th round, and obviously that sucks because I lost him already. So that's okay.
What you get for stealing him?
He's going to my NFL team, so we're good. We're good.
Yeah.
And then in the 6th round, I took Jabril Cox. That was kind of a homer pick for me. I had to get him before either you guys snagged him.
Yeah, I was eyeballing him.
I know you were. And then in the 10th round, I took Arizona linebacker Colin Schooler. He's a tackle. That guy's a tackle machine too.
Oh,
yeah, he had a little bit of a down year last year, but he's still can rack up those tackles.
Yep.
In round 15, I took Texas safety Caden Stearns. He had a little bit of injury issues last year, but still like him a lot. Then in round 20, I took Penn State freshman linebacker Curtis Jacobs, hoping he can possibly fill that role left by Micah Parsons. In round 24, I took Colorado defensive lineman Mustafa Johnson. There's a guy that I really like. I did some he was in my top 10 interior defensive linemen. He could play all over. So, yeah. In round 25, I took Utah State safety Shaq Bond. Got to thank Daryl for that one.
Yeah, I was ready to pick you too when you took him.
I wanted Zane, but you got him a while earlier, and I was like, all right, I'll wait a little bit. And then my last defensive player I took was Dante Stills, defensive lineman from West Virginia. He's another one of those sleeper guys that I had in my top 10. So we'll see how he does.
All right, and I guess I'm up next here. So I waited until, let's see, I don't have 1, 2, 3. I guess it was the 7th round. Sixth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 6th round. I took Chaz Surratt, senior from UNC. Had to go with my boy that I watched, my Tar Heel. The fact that he's only ever played 1 year in college at linebacker and did so well, I had wanted to grab him. He also had 13, nearly 14 points a game in college. So, I mean, the average there, was pretty good. He had a lot of stuffs, a lot of behind the line plays, 6.5 sacks as a linebacker, not too shabby. My next pick was Carlos Basham, which I knew Eric was mad about because I think I took him right before he picked, I think.
Took him right after I did. I was hoping to get him the next round.
So you had a chance at him, but
I did, and then I passed on him because I was like, he'll last one more. Well,
so then I went with Tariq Smith a few rounds later here from Ohio State. I said, Ohio State linemen are normally a pretty good bet. Then I kind of went not off the board, but I started doing some other research. I used Daryl's list a little bit to pick out some names. I went on and looked at some preseason All-Americans and did some stat hunting, just basically who had some stats. So my next pick was Demar Hamlin. I'm not sure if he's any relation to Ken Hamlin, former Seahawks safety, but he had 60 tackles, 60 solos, 10 passes defended in 12 games played. So I said, you know what, that's not bad. He only had one INT, but the tackles and the passes defended were nice. Then I went with Brian Breesy from Clemson. We talked about him on last week.
Yeah.
Show.
That one you did snipe me on, because that's that one I was gonna take him, and then you snuck him in there like.
Yeah. I mean, what did Daryl describe him as?
An elephant among cats.
An elephant among cats. Yeah. That was.
See, I made you remember him.
Yes.
It worked.
Next up was Monty Rice, senior from Georgia. Again, 50 solos, 3 passes defended, no sacks. So he's more of your middle linebacker type. Linebackers from Georgia tend to do pretty decent too. We talk about other schools, but they're normally pretty good. Then I kind of loaded up on defense because I realized we were running out of rounds. And I needed to fill my starting lineup because I loaded up on the offensive side of the ball. I went with Paulson Adebo from Sanford.
Nice.
He had 4 picks, 23 solos, 10 passes defended.
What position does he play, Dan?
I don't know, corner, safety. I don't know. He is what I saw, and I was like, I guess he's a corner.
He's a corner. He's a corner. I give you a hard time on it.
It doesn't really break down corner and safety on here. It's just DB. So I was just looking for stats at this point. Then I went with junior from Oregon, Isaac Slade Matutia. Again, he had a pretty nice, 10 passes defended, 1.5 sacks, 36 tackles last season. Can't go wrong with some Oregon guys. He's also like the man in the middle there. I know we talk about a lot of other guys. He'll probably, I don't know, might lose some snaps to Justin Flo if they have a season, but if not, he'll probably maybe depart to the pros. And then I had to fill out the rest of my lineup. So my last few picks, some of my guys, hold on. Yeah, I guess all of my picks are here. So then I went with Greg Ellsworth from Iowa State. Again, a high tackle number, high passes defended number. He was I think he's a Big 12 All-American, like 3rd team preseason, something like that. That's where I got that name from. And then my last pick, he averaged a ton, and that's what kind of caught my eye because I tried to sort by average. And he averaged 15 points a game. It was a stud for Kansas at linebacker until he got hurt. And he's planning on returning this season for Les Miles and the Kansas Jayhawks. So I know Kansas is not normally the powerhouse for college football, but he seemed to be, on a good tear there. But got injured and missed the season. He might have an extra year to heal up here.
And just you mentioned him a minute ago, and coincidence, I've been watching games I've got taped. So since there's no football, I have to watch tape games. So with us not having a season, I guess I get an early jump on the draft scouting or whatever. But I actually watched Pittsburgh and Eastern Michigan in their bowl game from last year. And Demar Hamlin had himself a day. If you want to go see how good that kid is, that's the game I'd go watch. He had an interception. He was making pass deflections everywhere. I mean, he's physical. I like that pick a lot for you. And I like the Greg Ellsworth from Iowa State in the 25th round. That is crazy, crazy value.
Yes, I went hunting for any information I could get on guys. The problem was, I appreciate that Fantrax has the simplicity of being able to have your college and your pro in one place. but trying to find these dudes is sometimes hard.
Yeah, it is. You gotta look sometimes.
Adding guys and stuff, it was killing me because I'm like, they should know who's on these teams by now.
And I
like there's only one guy that works for the entire company or something.
I had asked, because when we did this draft, Michigan and Mississippi State, and I can't remember the other, they actually hadn't submitted depth charts yet, so that's why they were not in the player pool, and that's what Fantrax told me straight up. That is, if they don't have their depth charts, that they won't put them in the system yet. There was like 5 schools. I can't remember which ones. I know Mississippi State and Michigan were the 2 big ones.
Air Force was one of them because they came out like a couple days ago.
So yeah, that is the one bad thing about it. But for the most part, I think they do. They do a pretty good job with it.
Yeah, the Devy part I do like, to be able to draft your Devy team
and play it.
Whereas if we were doing this, we'd have to probably house it on there if that's the one thing. Like Devy, as it gets more popular, I think more platforms will try to add the college to it. I know Yahoo does college.
So with Fantrax here, you can actually upload your college roster into the minors or the prospect section of your NFL team. But I just haven't found the best way to do it because not this year, but the year before, they so like the guys that got drafted automatically changed from their college team to their pro team.
Yeah,
so you're able to move them up. But this past year, they didn't do that. So I meant to talk to Fantrax to see what was going on with it and if that was something that they could do, because that would make life a lot easier if you were able to do it that way.
Yeah. So the one bright spot of my team was that, despite Rashod Bateman saying he was going to go and not play this year, the consolation is he will be on my pro roster when he does attend the NFL. So he's a surefire first-round pick, that's for sure. But I like my depth. I got a lot of young running backs, which was my strategy going in because I did not draft running back that well in the rookie draft, which is part of my strategy in Dynasty is to hit the wide receivers hard and supplement my running backs through the draft. So I tried to hit, and I got a couple freshmen, Jace McClellan, EJ Smith, and DeMonte Tranum that should do that. And I got a couple sophomores that'll be ready next year. And then I have Jamar Jefferson should be coming out this year. And DJ Williams, I think he's a regular sophomore. So he's got sophomore. So I should have Jamar Jefferson coming up. And, who knows, though? If he doesn't get to play, maybe he decides to sit or to wait another year.
Yeah, I went wide receiver heavy, too. There's a lot of wide receivers that went in the first 2 rounds. The 4 of my first 5 picks were wide receivers, except for Micah Parsons. So,
I feel pretty good about my wide receiver core. I got, Bateman. I got Marion Brown from Georgia Tech was one of my later picks, but J.D. Spielman, who's now at TCU.
That's a good one.
Yeah. By the way, is TCU practicing, or are they still having a revolt against their coach?
I haven't heard.
That's a good question.
I haven't heard anything since the initial report that they walked off the field,
I haven't heard either.
As a team, I guess with all the uncertainty of the season, maybe they've stopped practicing, but I doubt it because, that's kind of new.
So, a couple questions about our drafts. Who was your favorite IDP pick of the draft?
Of just our teams or everybody's?
For your team.
Ooh, let me look.
Mine was my first one, safety Andre Cisco for Syracuse. I think just the points that he's going to put up and missing out on some of the others, he's going to have to be my leader for my defense and kind of carry the load there. So really loved it. That was good value considering where they started coming off. So
my favorite is probably Carlos Basham because he's a much needed edge rusher that I'm going to need in my pro team. He's a senior, 11 sacks last year. So I'm looking forward to getting some sacks up on my pro roster because if I'm not mistaken, I think my pro roster needs a defensive end. Let me go check that out real quick here.
All right. Who was your favorite, Eric?
I mean, I got to go with either Micah Parsons or Jabril Cox. I mean, just what Parsons could do, if he can live up to the hype that he's getting, it's hard to beat that. And Jabril Cox, just because I've watched him for the past 3-4 years to see what he's done. So he's probably that's probably my homer pick, and I could use the linebacker help too. So,
all right, okay. So another question: who's the player you wanted most, but you didn't get him? Somebody sniped you or drafted him earlier than you expected. For me, it was defensive end Kayvon Thibodeau, young gun going into his sophomore season. I think the sky's the limit for him, and I really wanted him. And our buddy Peter decided different. He decided I didn't need him. So, but yeah, that was pretty
easy. Yeah, mine's pretty easy. It was Justin Flo, and that's because he wasn't on the list, I don't think. And I kind of
he wasn't. You had to put a placeholder in, I believe.
Placeholder. So yeah, I was
Mine probably would be I'm going to have to go with probably Tyler Davis, the defensive tackle from Clemson. He went one pick right before me. So that one was a little heartbreaking.
And Breesy.
Yeah, and that was one pick the other way. So it's like, all right, well, that's all right. But I think those were two of the ones that I wished I would have gotten. I mean, obviously, Kayvon would have been nice,
Who'd you say again?
I said Micah Parsons.
No, I meant the one you didn't get.
Oh, Tyler Davis or Brian Breezy. Yeah, mostly Tyler Davis.
What round did he go in?
Round 12, pick 7.
It's not bad value though.
No, definitely not. Not for. Like I said, the video the tape that I watched of him, the guy was a beast.
Yeah.
All right. And we had one Twitter question, right? Listener question. It was from @J1. Who are some late round sleepers in campus to Canton startup drafts? You guys can take the floor here.
Go ahead, Eric. I'll let you lead the way.
I mean, if the drafts, I'm curious because I was going to look at my other campus to Canton draft too that finished.
Yeah, I'm kind of look here too.
See, I had the first pick in that one. So,
what are we trying to say? How late? I mean, are we looking like round 20 or later, or?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
I would say so.
Okay.
Looking at my other one, I do like Daryl's pick of DJ Dale in round 27. That's
crazy.
That could be a steal. I can't find him in the other draft. I'll have to search for him if he even got taken. That's one thing to look at. See, just to see how different each of these guys were. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm looking here. Because there was a lot of good value left late. I can't remember his name. I'm trying to look back to see who it was I had on my mind. Like getting Greg Ellsworth in the 25th round, that's crazy good value. I mean, DJ Dale, I thought that was crazy good. I was expected him to be long gone by the 27th round.
I do like in round 21, Joe Tyron, the edge rusher from Washington. I think he could be one of those sleeper guys. That was a good pick by Todd, who took him. But yeah, I think Drake Jackson in round 15. I think that's pretty good value for him as well.
Yeah. Yeah, there was some good values. I think in those type of leagues, maybe you want to look at some super young, like incoming freshmen.
That's why I took the Penn State linebacker Curtis Jacobs, because he could fill that Micah Parsons role after he's gone.
Right.
or like Tyreek Smith from Ohio State, like Dan took him. I think he's a good pick too.
Yeah, I mean, here's one. I'll be a little nicer than his actual name. Screw Carol Baskins. That was for you, Dan. I cutened that up a little bit.
That's good because I'm not going to edit this stuff.
But he got Brady Breeze, the Oregon safety, in round 20. I expected him to be long gone. And
he was on my queue for the longest time.
He was mine too. I didn't think anybody would take him, and I just kept waiting because I had other needs, and I was like, ah. But what he did in last year's Rose Bowl, if you go watch that game, that was amazing. So that's good value. I mean, when you can get players, it's just kind of hard to really pinpoint because, I mean, everybody's got different values on different players. Like Tyler Shelvin at the end of that round, that's a good pick, in round 20. I mean, there's so many good ones, really. You just kind of really have to see where these guys start. My suggestion would be build you a big board and just kind of, like I did with this draft, kind of just sit back and wait and see where that first IDP Devy comes off the board, and then you need to just kind of start working from there, I honestly thought the IDP side in this draft would go a little longer before they started getting picked. I really did. I was surprised that the first one come off in round 3. Not surprised who it was. I was thinking maybe round 5 is where these guys would start coming off. But you got, Rousseau come off around 39th overall pick of the draft. And then you come around and you're getting Parsons at 56, Kayvon at 59. And I knew right then when you've got those 3 coming off that close together that if you don't get your top guy, then you're going to miss out. So I had to take Cisco at 63 because I knew he wasn't going to last. I mean, you just kind of have to – I think that's how I would attack it. And clearly that's kind of what I did with it.
And it could have lasted longer because this was a 16-team league as well.
Right.
This one was a little bigger than normal leagues. And with the scoring that I had set up for when it gets to the NFL, the offensive defensive scoring are pretty close together.
Yeah, I like that, by the way.
And that's why in the NFL portion you saw your defensive ends go a lot earlier. So I'm going to pull it up real quick. Like the first defensive guy went in round 3. Aaron Donald was the first by me, and then Budda Baker and Darius Leonard. Because defensive linemen score high, and the 4th round was pretty much all defense. So it just the scoring was. I tried to get it so it was even and players had equal value, so that we do have players like Thibodeau and Parsons and Rousseau go where we think that they're going to perform. Obviously, it's hit or miss, but
I like these big, deep leagues like this. I mean, this is now that I've got into these campus to Cantons, I don't know that I'll play anything else. I mean, I'll keep what I've got, but going forward. This, unless it's some kind of big charity league or something like that.
Yeah.
I think these campus to Canton leagues is what I prefer, because it's the complete full control. I mean, you're getting these kids when they come in freshmen, and you're keeping them however long you want to keep them.
Mm-hmm.
For me, that's what I like.
So looking at the other campus to Canton I was doing both these at the same time. So trying to
shame on you.
it was fun, because like this one's only a 12-team league. The first IDP guy went in the end of round 4. Zach Zemos, freshman from Arkansas. It's not even the guys you expect. And then after that went Thibodeau, Dylan Moses, Micah Parsons, all went in round 5. Rousseau went in round 6. Chaz Surratt in round 8. Jabril Cox and Nick Bolton in round 9. So just the variances in where these players were taken is crazy, but just between two leagues themselves. But it was fun to watch, see where so I could kind of play it a little easier to see where they each guy went in each league. So
you had an advantage over us because you could kind of.
Actually, this one was going faster than our. This one ended like a week before. So, but I mean, it was, like I said, it was still fun to see where these guys went.
Yep.
Like Nazrul Dean in this one went in round 17, compared to where Daryl took him in.
Wow.
Wherever you took him at.
Round 6,
10.
7?
Round 10.
Yeah.
So it's just the variance, because you don't have any ADPs out there for both.
No.
For both offense and
not.
defense. If we could get more, then that's something that we could do, because, well, again, one was super flex, one was not. So
do some mock drafting all summer long.
Yep.
Good luck finding participants.
Let's go. Oh, I'm sure we could find some.
Oh, I'm sure we could find participants. That's I don't think that'll be a problem.
No.
Yeah. Well, anyways, hopefully there is a season. If not, then like I said, we'll still be coming at you with some player breakdowns, getting ready for the draft, because obviously the draft is not going to stop. The NFL, I think, is proceeding with the plan. I still think that the NFL should develop a bubble plan, but they seem to be opposed to that. We'll see how that works out. I mean, NCAA could have a bubble. I mean, these kids could take their classes remotely. A lot of universities are doing that anyway. And, take over one of these college towns that's, doesn't have anybody on it. And
I just hope the NFL, if college football is shut down, I just hope they do this quick enough and realize they're in a time crunch now to let some of these kids know, is there going to be a combine? Is there going to be pro days?
They can't. They don't know. They can't answer that. They don't know. They
need to do that and come up with a backup plan and say, hey, you got to do something.
We saw there a couple teams got in their pro days and not a lot did, and it hurt the small school guys. It hurt the guys that are long shots. The sure things got drafted. I don't want to say sure things, but I mean the players that teams were impressed with in game film is who got drafted. And sometimes those players fall through the cracks. But I mean, you have a bad game here or there. Maybe the coach watches your bad game, and they didn't watch the other 11 where you were really good. So you never know. Like I said, we'll still bring if the season does get canceled officially on Monday or Tuesday or this week, we will still plan on bringing you a show at least once a month. We're about every other week, it seems like, schedule-wise here anyway. So, maybe in a couple weeks we will come back and hopefully talk some college football. If not, we'll be talking, I'm sure, about draft prep. Maybe go through and based off of take a look at some first-round mocks for next year.
There we go.
Any last words,
maybe
guys?
sprinkle a little high school stuff in. We may sprinkle a little high school stuff in if they're getting to play. Some places. So we'll figure something out for everyone.
So there was one other thing off of Twitter, and Joey wanted us to go over his team real quick. So this is his first campus game that he did.
It sucks because you told me all I needed to know when you said Joey. I automatically knew it sucks. I'm just kidding, Joey. Just kidding.
Oh, that's not nice.
Just kidding, Joey.
Yeah, it's all fun and games. So he took his first IDP in round 9. He took Virginia linebacker Noah Taylor. Really like that pick.
Love it.
And then he followed up in round 10 with Pitt defensive lineman Patrick Jones. I like that. He could be one of the top defensive ends taken in this next draft. They took Paris Ford, defensive back from Pitt after that one. I'm not sure. Don't know too much about him, but
watched him play.
And then
in a game.
In round 12, he took Nevada defensive end Dom Peterson. I think he could be a sleeper.
Oh, that's a good one there.
Yes, it is. Especially in round 12.
Really good. Oh yeah, that's good.
One of my favorite picks he took was in round 16. He took Nick Bonito, the linebacker from Oklahoma, who could probably take that starting role now that Caleb Kelly suffered the knee injury and he's out for the year. Then he took in round 18, he took Boise defensive end Dimitri Washington. In round 19, he took Alabama freshman linebacker Demoy Kennedy. He could be one of those guys that takes over for Dylan Moses.
Yeah.
In round 20, he took Colby Harvell Peel.
Pick.
I know that was one of Daryl's top safeties when we did our list.
Yeah. Really
round
like
20. Yep. That was a good pick. Let's see. Round 25, he took Will McDonald, Iowa State defensive end. Round 26, Delarin Turner-Yell, safety from Oklahoma. And then his last pick, he took Antonio Alfano, freshman defensive end from Colorado. So overall, pretty good. I like it.
Solid picks all around, yeah.
I agree. Good job, Joey.
Yep.
So.
Well, now I think we can wrap up here.
Yep, we're good now.
Anything you guys have coming out in the Devy marketplace in the next week or so?
I have my top 10 defensive ends that should be out probably around Friday or Saturday.
Cool. Daryl?
I had a couple pieces the last week or so that I've put out. Small school prospects, transfer piece on Roderick Perry. That's it for now. I'll do something later this week and try to get some more together. I'm trying to get our NFL divisional breakdowns done so I can focus back on college side a little bit. But
you're welcome.
I hate you.
Come on, they're necessary evil people.
They're evil, all right.
They are evil, but yeah.
You guys have fun with those.
Yeah.
There's no fun at all.
But that'll about do it. How about go college football? Hopefully you play. I don't know.
Please. I am begging to the football gods, let this happen.
Just go football in general. How about that? Just any football.
How the players make their own league?
There you go.
I'd watch it.
Revolt against the institution.
If there's not football, people are not going to want to know me. Not that they want to know me now. I'm just saying.
You just have to watch more Ryan Tannehill.
I will not.